Now, when I was looking at the song Finiculi-Finicula, I was a little bit surprised to realize that I've been familiar with this song for the better part of 70 years. Believe it or not. When I was about a year old, my grandma Swanson had a stroke, and so my parents rented out their own house and they moved in with Grandma for 5 or 6 years, as a matter of fact. And sometime in the early 1940s, my mother's older brothers got together and purchased for Grandma a Waldorf upright grand player piano. Now, yes, how many of you had player pianos back then? Oh, almost everybody did in the early 1900s. Well, really? Well, they did. And what most people didn't realize at the time was the player piano was actually a pneumatic vacuum-powered digital computer. The storage medium for this computer was, of course, a roll of paper with holes punched in it. And it turns out there was either a hole in a certain place in the paper or there was not. A switch, on-off, or a 0 or 1. The same techniques used in digital computers today. As a matter of fact, some of the earlier computers did indeed use rolls of paper punch tape, and you remember the ones where punch cards were used. Well, now Louis has a high-speed spinning disc with microscopic magnetic sections that are either on or off, magnetized this way or that way, an electronic digital computer. But in the old days, we had the player piano. And the way these things worked was you pumped the bellows actually created a vacuum, and up in this corner was a 5-valve vacuum motor with a little crankshaft on the top. Crank, 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 which drove a series of chains and pulleys and gears and pulled the paper across this sound bar in the middle of the piano. And if there was no hole there, the vacuum that was being sucked there by pumping the bellows all the time couldn't do anything. But if there was a hole there, air passed through one of these pneumatic tubes to one of the 88 keys on the piano, and the note played. Well, here's an example, but this example uses a translucent piece of paper in the piano roll so that you can see both the holes behind in the sound bar in the piano and the piano roll itself. So you see how a pneumatic digital computer actually worked to play a piano. Now, over the years, and that player piano was in the family for the better part of 100 years, the family amassed a tremendous collection of piano rolls. And when we moved into Grandma Swanson's house, I found this player piano to be fascinating. There were all kinds of neat songs on these piano rolls, things like Barney Google with his googly eyes, or Hortense. Remember that one? Oh, my sweet Hortense, she ain't good looking, but she's got good sense. Before I kiss Hortense, I always buy a nickel's worth of peppermints. And there was one of my favorites that I'm sure in those days was considered pretty racy. When the parlor's warm and cozy and the old folks are away, then what do we do on a do-do-do-y day? And it goes on with what we do on a do-do-do-y day. And of course, one of the piano rolls in the collection was Finiculi-Finicula. Well, in those days, I was too small to sit on the piano bench and pump the pedals. So what I would do is I would climb up on the bench, put a piano roll in, and crawl under the bench and pump the pedals with my hands, and enjoyed that no end. And so a lot of families enjoyed the wealth of having a digital pneumatic computer in their house. About the time that the Waldorf Company in New York City was building Grandma Swanson's pneumatic digital computer, the folks over in Italy were building a cable car up the side of Mount Vesuvius. And this Vesuvio, as it was known, was very popular, and it was popular maybe especially popular for young couples who would get together and ride to the top of the mountain and back. And one man documented his adventure with his young lady friend and wrote the song Finiculi-Finicula about him riding the cable car and proposing marriage to the young lady. Well, it turns out that a literal translation of the Italian lyrics to English make the English almost impossible to sing with the music and the rhythm. So it was translated literally into English, and not knowing anything but that English translation, not speaking Italian, I always assumed that Finiculi-Finicula must be fun and joyous and happy. No, that wasn't right. Turns out that the cable car that went up the side of the steep mountains is known in Italian as a funicular. And Finiculi-Finicula simply means car goes up, car goes down. Well, I hope you didn't find that disappointing, but what is disappointing is that the old piano roll and Grandma Swanson's player piano have long gone away. However, the good news is we do have electronic digital computers now that can do the kind of thing that the old player piano could do. So let's see if I can find Finiculi-Finicula here. And okay, Louis, do your stuff. You're not going to start at the beginning, are you? It always wants to start in the middle. Some think the world is made for fun and frolic, and so do I, yes, so do I. Some think it well to be all melancholic, to pine and sigh, to pine and sigh. But I love to spend my time in singing some joyous song, some joyous song. To set the air with music bravely ringing is far from wrong, it's far from wrong. Listen, listen, music sounds afar. Listen, listen, music sounds afar. Finiculi-Finicula, Finiculi-Finicula. Joy is everywhere, Finiculi-Finicula. Ah me, 'tis strange that some should take to sighing, and like it well, they like it well. For me, I've not thought it worth the trying, so cannot tell, I cannot tell. With laugh and dance and song the day soon passes, and soon is gone, too soon it's gone. For mirth was made for joyous lads and lasses, to call their own, to call their own. Listen, listen, music sounds afar. Listen, listen, music sounds afar. Finiculi-Finicula, Finiculi-Finicula. Joy is everywhere, Finiculi-Finicula. Listen, listen, music sounds afar. Listen, listen, music sounds afar. Finiculi-Finicula, Finiculi-Finicula. Joy is everywhere, Finiculi-Finicula.